hello, everyone. I'm about to bring on Mia, aka Momozerii, who's the creator of High Class Homos, and she will be doing a live drawing for us today. So, everyone, give a warm welcome to Mia.
Hi. Okay, so I thought for today's live drawing session, I would kind of take everybody through my character design process. I have some new outfits that I need to draw for these characters. So I thought I would do that here today. I guess we should just get started. Okay, so what I like to do recently is to start with like a silhouette of the character. My process before used to look like just putting down a sketch, like, just going right in and drawing. But recently I've liked to take like a brush. Also, I've been working in Procreate recently, so apologies if switching between tools is a bit slow. I haven't used Clip Studio in a hot minute.
Between Procreate and Clip Studio, which one do you prefer working with?
Oh, that's a good question. I like a lot of the functionality of Clip Studio better, but ultimately, like, I could sacrifice a lot of functionality just for like being able to take my work with me easily. And Procreate on the iPad is like so portable and like travel friendly. So for me, that was like my main priority.
Yeah, I completely get that. When I switched to iPad for drawing, it just made life so much easier because you could just take it with you.
Yeah, like a lot of webcomic artists use Clip Studio, and I'm always so jealous of like the assets they can use like easily. So there's one downside. If you want access to some of the shortcuts and like time-saving methods, then Clip Studio is like made for making comics, so it's probably better in that regard. But if you're a busy person, always on the go, then I would recommend Procreate.
Somebody did ask, would love to hear anything on techniques you've learned to make creating vertical scroll comics easier on Procreate, because canvases can be a bit limiting or awkward there.
So what I ended up doing, I don't know if this is like the best method of doing this, but I just had like a default like super long canvas that was like the maximum length that you could get in Procreate. And before I would start like a section of my work, I would just copy that and then go in there, do all my work, draw as much as I can before Procreate tells me it's the limit, and then make another one and repeat that process. So definitely not like the most optimal way to do it, but it's worked for me for like 100 chapters, so. Hold on, I can check right now how large the canvas size was. So it's 800 pixels across, and then down it would let me get up to like 16,000, but sometimes I'd have to like crop it down just because of like the panels and like where they would end.
While you're drawing, I was wondering,
Mhm.
You know, I really like your series. It's so cute. I love the art style. And I was
Oh,
just like,
thank you so much.
I was wondering, like, where do you get inspiration for your series?
So I've been like, my ethos with this series has been just kind of do the stuff that like I've always wanted to see in like media when I consume it. So like I came up with the initial concept of this when I was in high school, and essentially it stemmed from me going like, hey, why don't stories do this idea where like, you know, a gay man and a lesbian like be each other's beards like in like a royal setting? I thought it was so genius. Why hadn't anyone done that? So I thought I would do it. And that's kind of held true for basically everything I put in the series. Especially in the beginning, it was so chaotic because I was just posting on Instagram. So there wasn't really any sense of end game. I was just kind of posting what made me happy. And I think that the approach has really worked out. It doesn't work for every series. Like I have some other comics where I definitely need to like be more thoughtful about like, you know, like traditional storytelling. But for this one, I think it's worked pretty decently.
I would definitely agree with that. Like the fact that you said you just post what makes you happy, I feel like that comes through in the series. Like it's such a funny, like heartfelt series too, that I can feel that.
I'm glad to hear that.
So Mac asked, what are some elements or rules in character design you try to use to keep characters feeling connected in a story?
So this is something I like kind of struggled with when I first started creating it. So to kind of make it easier on myself in the beginning, I made these characters like share a ton of like color palette similarities. Some of it is like really unsubtle, and like I would do it differently today. But it really worked in the beginning when I was going for like simplicity and like speed when creating. So for example, like August's hair is like the same color as like Percy's skin, or like, you know, Odette and Lucas have the same skin tone. And I would also recycle colors from like Marla's hair is like the gold accents in like Sephia's design. That's how initially I did it, because I didn't really have a lot of faith in my own ability to make characters' designs like consistent and like cohesive. Today I would probably do things differently. Recently I've designed like a bunch of characters for like an upcoming arc where they share a lot of screen time. To make sure they kind of look like they're from the same universe, I just kind of reference other characters like in their designs, not as like directly or as like obtusely as I was doing it in the beginning, but more like shades of colors and like hues and like similar saturation levels and things like that. I also do try to keep world building in mind. Like in this story, like a character's class and status is like pretty important to like their life. So I try to make sure to keep that in mind.
What are some tips that you wish you knew when you first started drawing your series that you can share with some of the creators here today?
Ooh, okay. One big thing that I learned like really far into publishing on Webtoon was that Procreate sometimes has an issue with importing images where it'll just automatically brighten the saturation. So the app was kind of sabotaging me a little bit, where in some chapters, some colors are just like so bright, like fluorescent, and it's hard to tell on like different screens what it will look like. on other screens. So I wish I had caught that earlier before publishing like some chapters. Now I've fixed the issue, but looking back and reading some of the older chapters, I'm like, oh boy, that is looking extremely bright.
For those that are having that issue, like, you know, might be publishing on Procreate as well, and could potentially have the issue as well. How did you fix that?
So apparently, some people have this issue, some people don't. I've looked at forums and people can't solve it they can't solve it like internally in the app, but there's a workaround where you use like a different file format. So it does this with like PNG files, JPEG files, but .tiff, .tiff files, it doesn't change like anything about the image there. So I think it's something funky with like Procreate's code or something. I hope they fix it. But that's the workaround for now, is to just use the file format that works.
Okay, that's amazing, because I've definitely noticed that my colors change when I export out of Procreate, and I thought I was just crazy. So I didn't even realize that was like an actual issue.
Yeah, I had realized the problem a while ago, but only recently I found the solution. Before I would just like manually adjust the saturation, but that takes a lot of time, so.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, someone said in the comments if it's about like color mode. I fiddled with all of those things too. And like I looked at all the forums where they like suggested like changing the modes and stuff. I don't know, it just didn't work. It seems like the issue is just like an importing issue. It was, yeah, I'm not like a super like tech gifted person, so I could be wrong, but it didn't seem to be working to just change it for me. So I'm just doing an alternate version of this same concept here, just with the hood off.
I noticed when you started that you had like your character blocked off with a solid form. Do you always do that? Like with all of your panels, do you like block your characters out first and then draw them? Or was that mainly because you're working on like a character concept right now?
Yeah, I mostly do it for like character design, just to like get a feel for like the silhouette I want. In panels, I just kind of like I do thumbnails before I even storyboard, and so like I'm working on making like a detailed sketch like this over like a concept that looks like that. So normally it's yeah, I also like speed is also very important. So for comic panels, I don't usually do like blocking like that. Unless it's like a very complicated panel with like a lot of elements and I want to make sure everything reads clearly. But we don't really have a lot of like action scenes in this comic, so I haven't felt the need to do it.
You talked about the fact that you start with thumbnails and then storyboarding. Like, what does your process usually look like when creating an episode on a week-by-week basis?
First I do very little scripting. I have like a master outline of like every episode and like the basic plot beats of each one. So I just reference that. I go in and I storyboard, and I find that skipping like a full scripting step and just going right into like drawing and writing at the same time, I find it really helps with like bringing about like natural like comedic moments. And for me, it's easier to like establish flow that way. Once I'm finished with like thumbnails, then I go in and do more detailed sketches, storyboards. I send that to my editor for review. Sometimes she gives me feedback on things to change. Sometimes she's like, oh, this is great, full steam ahead. And then once I have the go-ahead, I do my line art. That usually takes the longest out of all the steps. But once that's done, I send it to my color assistant who does my flats for me. And then I take it back for shading and backgrounds and bubbles and text. It helps that the art style of this comic is pretty simple. I can do this all with myself and one assistant.
Out of the whole process, what is your favorite part and what is your least favorite part?
I guess I don't know, I always, while I'm in each step, I feel like it's my least favorite until I do the next one and I'm like, oh no, this one's my least favorite. I think in general, I just hate tedious tasks. So my favorite part would be like storyboarding, where I can kind of draw from like my imagination and just kind of put down ideas that I don't have to do like as much work for, versus like line art or shading where it's like a lot of like tedious time for like an end product that you can kind of already see at the storyboard stage. I don't know, but there's some days where I really enjoy shading and line art. And when I draw normally like this, I enjoy every part of the process. It's just that when you have to do it like 100 times, you start to hate a lot of the process. But seeing the finished product is always worth it.
Definitely. I bet a lot of creators here can definitely understand that when you have to draw something over and over again, it can get a bit tedious.
Yeah. I guess my least favorite out of anything would have been the flat colors. So I'm glad I have someone to do that for me.
It's so interesting. I've heard a lot of creators say that doing flats is like their least favorite. And I get it. It's kind of like you're just dropping in color in a sense. There's none of that detail yet. But I don't. Sometimes I feel like flats can be like relaxing though at the same time because you're just, you know.
Those people are crazy. I can't. For me, like shading is very relaxing. Like I can really zone out while doing it and kind of go on autopilot, which is nice for if I'm like chatting with people but if I'm like in a time crunch, it's always the worst.
Yeah, I could see that. So do you always like today you're basically creating outfits for the characters? Do you always do this when introducing like a new character, and then do you use it as like a reference while you continue the episode?
I like to do this, but I've had moments toward the end of last season where I've kind of had to skip this step and do like extremely basic like references from my assistant, like enough so she gets like the gist of like what the character looks like, and then if it's not quite right, I can just like, you know, quickly change it when I get the flats back. But I like to have like full character references for things that I feel are important enough for it. But for things like extremely minor characters that like show up once and never again, I just kind of let my assistant pick sometimes.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. I love her as an artist as well, so I fully trust her judgment on stuff like that.
Does your assistant have their own series or?
Yes, they do. On Canvas, it's called Mistranslations.
Oh, okay. I know that series.
Yeah. She's been like a long time art friend of mine, and I highly recommend her comic.
Honestly, this series art is beautiful too.
Yeah, everyone should definitely read it.
Has she been your assistant since the beginning?
Since going to like originals, yes.
Oh, cool.
This is like a kind of a fun fact, but she was actually the first one to make fan art for this series back when it started on Instagram. And then I didn't even realize this because after seeing it, we just kind of naturally became friends. And I asked her to be my assistant for like other reasons. But I realized this later while like going through her account and like looking at my tagged photos. I was like, oh my God, she was the first one. And it kind of came full circle.
I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And look at y'all now. That's great.
Yeah, 2 seasons and counting maybe. I don't know. So I just decided to change the bottom of her top here, because I didn't want to reuse this like ripped look from the pant leg up top.
So I am curious about another thing about your series. Sorry that I'm like asking a bunch of questions. If you want me to stop, just let me know.
No problem. I don't like the silence, so it helps me.
Okay, for sure. So I think you have like a very interesting, very searchable like title, High Class Homos. Like I was just wondering, like, how did you come up with that?
So I think it was an Instagram poll, because everything started with Instagram here. And I asked for name suggestions, and I don't remember if it was exactly verbatim High Class Homos, but it was something that had that kind of like rhythmic like kick to it. So I can't take full credit for that one.
Is there any like names it could have been other than that one?
I don't really remember what my thought process was like in 2018. But recently I had been thinking about like, you know, if somebody tells me like it's too like provocative or something, I probably would have gone with something like lavender something, just because they're in a lavender marriage. Yeah, I don't know. Lavender something.
Yeah, I like the name. I think the name is great. I think it's so, like I said, searchable. You know, we're always like telling new creators like it's really a good idea to have like a searchable, unique title, so you can find it, and like that's definitely unique and findable. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got its like benefits for sure to have such like a punchy name. My previous editor, they told me that like every time the title card comes up in an episode, it's like its own like punchline.
Yeah.
Especially in the first episode where it's like they're just introducing characters and it's like all fantasy fairy tale style, and then Safia like kicks down the door, boom, title card. It's very I enjoyed how that came out.
Yeah, that's great. It's a really great entrance to the series.
Yeah, there are I guess downsides to it as well though. Mm-hmm. I've seen some people online talking about my comic. They're like, it's really good, just ignore the title. I know it sounds weird. It's like they have to give a disclaimer.
those people, don't worry about that. I think that's great.
It does do a good job of like kind of weeding out people early on that might not vibe with the sense of humor though. So
yeah, I get that.
Yeah, it's like self-selecting, which is nice. I don't know if anyone else has this problem, but sometimes like the shortcut for undoing is like tapping with 2 fingers, right? And I always find myself accidentally undoing when I'm trying to zoom in or out and not realizing it until I've put down the next stroke and I can't redo. It's always so painful.
That's all. Isn't there a way to change the finger commands?
Well, I also like the finger commands, so
that's fair too.
Yeah.
I draw and Procreate a lot, and for the first time in like a long time, I went to draw like on paper.
And you tried to undo the paper.
I tried to undo, like I tapped the paper, and I was just like, oh my gosh.
I think the first time I did that, I put my head in my hands, and I was just like, I need to touch grass more often.
Right? But when I first started digital art, I did the opposite, where I like tried to, you know, brush off like when you erase or when you're drawing, you like brush the paper. And I would do that to my screen all the time.
I have the like paper-like texture on my iPad. That does not help with like the perception issues at all either.
Right, exactly. I mean, but the paper screen is great.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Amazing. If y'all use Procreate and you use your iPad, definitely recommend getting that paper screen because it just makes the texture and feel of drawing so much better.
Mm-hmm. The iPad's too slippery.
Yes, it's too slippery. And it's also just great too because it kind of gets rid of glare.
Oh yeah.
You don't have like fingerprints on your screen anymore.
The one thing though, I don't know if there's like a workaround for this, but I found it creates like so much friction that it like rubbed down my Apple Pencil tip and I had to get replacements for it.
Yeah, that's the thing, because it's kind of acting like as a sandpaper in a sense.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take that trade-off any day.
Yeah. I luckily haven't had to change mine yet, but I'm pretty sure you draw way more than I do with your series.
Yeah, enough to like burn a hole in it, like.
So right now you're working in Clip Studio. Do you use like when you're drawing in Clip Studio, do you use like a Wacom or?
Yeah, I have a Wacom Cintiq Pro, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
The one with the touch screen. It was like kind of collecting dust a little bit, I admit. But I'm like going back into like my old habits pretty easily. So like if this was more portable, I probably would switch back for like making comics. Oh my god, I did the undo thing again.
So this is the one that like connects to a like desktop, right? Because there is a Wacom that you can draw directly on it, and it is portable, I think, but it doesn't have as much like power, I guess, because it is, in a sense, portable. Still kind
There's a lot of trade-offs for all the options, I guess.
Yeah.
Also, with the iPad, you can do a lot like of other stuff with it too, which is nice.
That's true. You can play Netflix in the background while you.
I'm actually really bad with like focusing on visual media while working. I think because I'm working in a visual medium, like I just get so distracted and I can't help but watch. So normally I listen to like podcasts or things that like I don't need to like look at to pay attention to.
That makes sense. Yeah, that podcast for sure. What if you don't mind sharing, what are some podcasts you like to listen to while you work?
I'm sure everybody already knows this one, but I've been pretty into like the Magnus archives.
I don't know what that is.
I've also like sometimes I'll listen to like YouTubers as if they're podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
There's also like, people are gonna hate me that I don't know the name of this. There was like D&D podcasts that were pretty popular that I would just kind of like tune into and tune out. Just there was like something happening and I wasn't just sitting in silence.
Yeah, I'm actually like, I love putting on shows that I've seen a million times and just putting it in the background because like I don't need to watch it, and then it's like a familiar sound, I guess. Like Schitt's Creek. I love Schitt's Creek, and I'll like put that on while I draw because it's so heartwarming and it's just like it's like a happy show.
I need to watch that still. I haven't seen it.
You haven't watched Schitt's Creek?
No, I haven't. I'm not very good at like getting into TV shows, but once I watch them, like once I start it, I like devour them.
You should definitely check out Schitt's Creek. It's super funny, very cute, heartwarming. It's like because like a lot of comedy I think relies on sometimes like mean humor, but this series doesn't. You know, it's like it's really like heartwarming. I guess that's the best word I can use for it.
That's good. Yeah, meme humor, like, I mean, there's a time and place.
Yeah.
But I find it like it's like instantly dated.
Yeah, definitely like early 2000s, 2010ish. Like, yeah, I get what you mean by it's like dated.
Yeah, it's like even if you're like very quick with it, like especially with like publishing on like a serialized thing, like by the time that it's able to be published, the meme has probably already died.
Yeah.
So me personally, I try to stay away from meme humor in my own work. You can make your own memes, like callbacks.
Yeah, I love the humor in your series. Like the first time I ever read it, I was like, this is hilarious.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Like the part at like the very beginning, I always think about it is when the princess gets breakfast and she also gets a radish with the breakfast and she's like, is this a radish?
Yeah.
I love that part.
I had a lot of fun with the radish callbacks throughout the season too.
Did you get inspiration from that from Avatar with the cabbage guy?
Okay, so weirdly enough, yes and no. So initially, like I actually hadn't watched Avatar like as a child. I watched it pretty late in life, and like I initially thought the joke would be funny with cabbages, and then I watched Avatar and I was like, oh no, this is like exactly the joke. I need to change the vegetable.
That's funny. Wow, what a coincidence.
Yeah, so Avatar related for sure.
For sure.
You know, Avatar was so like influential that I'd probably seen the joke somewhere online before and just kind of absorbed it without really realizing.
Oh yeah, that definitely could be the case. Like Avatar is such a, like, you're right, it was like super influential and paved the way for a lot of things, I think.
Yeah. I was on Tumblr big time. There's no way I didn't see something about it. I feel like people really loved Avatar on there too.
Oh yeah. I watched Avatar when I was a child. I got to watch it as it came out in real time.
That must have been amazing.
It was amazing when the last episode aired. Oh my gosh, it was like a whole thing with my family. Like we all got together and we were freaking out about it. It was amazing.
That's great. Were you like a shipper back then?
Yeah. Oh, I hope I don't get any hate right now. I was a huge Zutara person. And I still am to this day.
I feel like I would have been, and so I'm kind of like, if I had lived through that, I would have been so disappointed by the ending, I think.
I was like, this doesn't make any sense. They don't have any chemistry. Zutara forever. Yeah, I was obsessed with Avatar, so yeah.
Oh yeah, that's something, this is like kind of completely unrelated, but kind of also like exactly what we're talking about. I sometimes think about like what it would have been like to witness like the premiere of like the Star Wars movies and be like a shipper of like Luke and Leia going into the last movie.
That is so funny because I actually am rewatching the Star Wars movies in release order. And I thought the same thing. I was
like there's no indication beforehand. And like going into the last movie, you'd think that you were winning, right?
Right.
Like over the Han Leia shippers. Han's in stone. Luke and Leia are like in the same vicinity. And then you would have walked out of the theater like, well,
you're like, never mind, I take everything back.
Yeah. Would have been such like a like whiplash.
You know, so like rewatching it, George Lucas has been known to continue to edit, or I mean, I guess he doesn't now because it's like with Disney and stuff, but he used to edit his stuff as like technology became more advanced, and that's why there's like weird CGI scenes and like the old stuff.
Oh yeah, like shot first, that whole meme.
Yeah, and like Hayden being Darth Vader in the last one as a Force ghost, so you know, that kind of stuff. So the scene where Leia kisses Luke, it's like 5 seconds long. It's just to get back at Han. I'm like, technically, since George was already editing stuff, he could have just took that out. He could have just taken it out. He's like, no, this is important to the story.
That's like very interesting decisions were made. It's like I mean, I'm not like the biggest like Star Wars like trivia knower, but like supposedly they didn't know they were getting more movies, right? So it's not like they knew right away that they were going to be siblings and like.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure A New Hope was a one-off type of movie, and that's why it's like a closed story, and at the end they're like celebrating and, you know, do like the whole like, here's a trophy. Medal. Yeah, medal. I'm like, trophy. Thanks for saving the world or saving the galaxy. So it was supposed to be a one-off, but then it did so well that they made more movies, and that's why there's like a few years between the first one and the second one. Or I guess it's the fourth and fifth one now, but yeah. And then later on, that's when he decided like, oh, they're actually going to be siblings.
Yeah.
So it wasn't initially planned.
Oh, I don't like how her face looks when I zoom out.
So are you working on like the line art right now, or is this still the sketch layer?
This is like kind of like a conceptual piece, I guess. So I've just kind of been doing like, I'm not worried about the layers right now.
For sure. That I get that, yeah.
Normally when I make references like this, like I'll just do a drawing and then off to the side I'll like put all the colors as like swatches.
Oh yeah.
So I don't really make like a cleaned up version of this. Like this is I'm just putting in some details so I know what she looks like with her face on.
Do you feel like your art has changed a lot since you first began the series?
Yeah, honestly, like, I feel like my art has changed more in the past, like, couple months than it has in, like, my entire life. Just because I took a big break from, like, comics and stuff, which, you know, I haven't done in ages. Like, I haven't been not making comics since I was in high school. And so during that time, I did a lot of, like, painting. I got into oil painting, which I had never done before. And I feel like I've gotten a lot better at, like, rendering and, like, doing things that are, like, less cartoony. But it's not a huge problem because it's really easy to just kind of slip back into my old art style. And I guess throughout the course of, like, doing High Class Homos, I've seen a lot of art improvement in getting, like, drawing characters consistently and, like, poses. If you look at, like, old panels, because in the beginning we used the old ones from Instagram and new ones that I drew, and, like, even between there's like a huge difference. And then from the beginning to the end, there's, like, a little bit less difference, but yeah, for me, it's very noticeable.
Who is your favorite character to draw?
So right now, my favorite is someone you haven't seen yet, a new character. But out of the ones you know, I really enjoy characters with this, like, M-shaped hairline. So Sophia and Lucas, I think, are my favorite. I just really like how that looks, where it's like, you know, just like a little swoop.
It's very much like 90s heartthrob.
Yeah, I love it. I just like the symmetry a lot too. Yeah, Lucas could definitely be in a boy band.
Oh yeah. Do you think he would be in NSYNC or Backstreet Boys?
I like Backstreet better, so I guess Backstreet Boys.
Cool. Me too. I also like the color of the princess's hair. Like, I would totally dye my hair that color. It's like a soft.
I've always wanted pink hair as well. My hair does not take well to being bleached, so I've given up on my dreams.
What about what is this, like hair wax or something like that? And it's supposed to, like, just go right on top of normal hair color. Have you ever tried that?
I have not. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, I don't know what the brand is called, but yeah, it's like almost like a wax kind of thing, and it washes out. But
okay,
have pink hair for a day.
And then just do it every day.
Yes, every day you wake up, put it on. Also, how long have you planned to make this comic before you started publishing it? Or was it a spur of the moment sort of thing?
So kind of both. I had this concept in mind for, like, over a year by 2018. And I had always wanted to do, like, kind of like a mini series on it. Like, you know, just a couple episodes, nothing crazy. And then, like, this is a bit embarrassing, but I was, like, a fan artist for the show Voltron back when that was big. Yeah. And I actually, past a certain point, I really hated the show, and I knew it was gonna, like, flop. So I had been making moves, like, a couple months in advance to, like, jump ship. So, oh god, the reactions in the chat. So I had been making moves to jump ship. I'm sorry, I'm like insulting your show, guys. So I tried posting fan art for other shows, seeing if like people would be receptive to it, and like nothing was working. There was like the Dragon Prince, like the new She-Ra. I was trying everything, but it just wasn't doing as well as my Voltron stuff. So I thought, whatever, I'm just gonna post something like original. I don't care if it gets no attention, like, at least I'll have something for people to like come back for once the show flops. And then it did better than anything I had ever made before. Like overnight, it was crazy. And it felt really great because it was something I like made myself instead of like, fan art for a thing somebody else had made. At that point, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep making more of this. And then I did. I didn't plan for it to go super long either. But people just really wanted more. And then after a couple chapters, I kind of outlined what I wanted for the series in the future. So like including like Lucas's plot line, the stuff with like the wedding and like the ball. And a lot of that I didn't get to finish in the Instagram run, just because of like scheduling and then moving to originals. But then, yeah, I basically accomplished all of like the moments that I had been envisioning back in 2018, 2019, in this first season of the show. And then from here, it's like what I now feel like doing. So it's been a journey.
That is amazing. Having your own work, like your own characters do better than any like fan art, like that's amazing. Like that must have been just like the best feeling.
It felt, especially because like, I mean, I don't know if you know anything about the Voltron fandom, but like,
oh yes, I also watch Voltron.
Toward the end, everybody was so bitter and like vindictive, and like kind of being able to rise above all that felt amazing.
Okay, I gotta ask. Were you a Clance shipper?
I was. I was.
Oh, then the ending must have been heartbreaking.
I was like checked out by season 6, I think.
I watched the whole thing. I fought through it.
I don't think I even watched season 8 because like 7 felt like an ending to me, so I was like, okay, I'm this is enough for me.
Do you think you'll ever go back and watch those seasons?
Maybe. I think I'll watch the earlier seasons for sure. There was like still charm and like, there was a lot I liked about the show in the beginning that it just kind of lost for me by the end. Mm-hmm. Also, I heard that Allura dies, and I'm really upset about that.
Yeah.
Oh my god, she was like my favorite.
Yeah. It's really upsetting.
Yeah. I'm gonna give her earrings as my last act.
Ooh, yes. Karan was always my favorite character.
He lives, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Also, just spoiler alert for everybody.
Oh yeah, sorry guys.
Well, like when we publish this, we'll make sure to have the editor put in spoiler alert before they watch it. Yeah, they did Allura dirty. Like they really did. And fun fact, one time I drew Karan and Lotar fan art, like and
wait, of them together?
Yeah. And I got hate, man. We were upset. It's okay. It was great.
That's so funny.
It was beautiful.
It's so funny. There's like 19 people here total, and there's like multiple people here talking about Voltron in the chat. Like the sample size and like the ratio is crazy. especially for a show nobody talks about anymore.
I know that show died. Like it happened and then it was never talked about again.
I'm telling you, I saw it coming.
You were right.
Yeah. Apollo's dodgeball or whatever.
So we're actually done for today for the live drawing. Thank you so much, Mia. This was great. This was really fun.
Yeah, thank you for staying on and chatting with me. I'm not very good with the entertaining people all by myself, so.
Of course, this was like super fun. I always love talking random pop culture stuff, so.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming we'll be able to see maybe some of these designs in later episodes.
Yes, definitely.
Very cool. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Mia.
Thank you so much. And thanks, everybody.